Let us start with the topic that is XP. XP means Extreme Programming. Extreme Programming XP is originally described by Kent Beck, which is one of the most popular Agile methodologies. Extreme programming is a set of practices that conforms to the values and principles of Agile. In the year 1999, Kent Beck published his book, that is Extreme Programming Explained. Extreme programming has been evolving since then, and the evolution continues through today. XP is a discrete method, whereas Agile is a classification. There are many Agile methods. XP is just one of them. Kent Beck's basic idea was take observed effective team practices and push them to extreme level. XP is disciplined approach to delivering high quality software quickly and continuously. It improves a software project in 5 essential ways: communication, simplicity, feedback, respect, and courage. XP promotes high customer involvement, rapid feedback loops, continuous testing, continuous planning, and close teamwork to deliver working software at very frequent intervals, typically every 1 to 3 weeks. XP emphasizes teamwork. Managers, customers, and developers together make a team. XP is an agile software development framework that aims to produce high quality software and higher quality of life for the development team. XP is most specific of the agile frameworks regarding appropriate engineering practices for software development. The question is why it is called as extreme. So, the extreme programming takes the effective principles and practices to extreme levels. Like the code reviews are effective as the code is reviewed all the time. Testing is effective as there is continuous regression and testing. Design is effective as everybody needs to do refactoring daily. Integration testing is important as integrate and test several times a day. Short iterations are effective as a planning game for release planning and iteration planning. So, the XP is one of the most important software development framework of agile methods. It is used to improve the software quality and very important that is responsive to customer requirements. The XP model recommends taking the best practices that have worked well in the past in program development projects to the extreme levels. So, XP is a software development methodology which is intended to improve software quality and responsiveness to changing customer requirements. The methodology takes its name from the idea that the beneficial elements of traditional software engineering practices are taken to extreme levels. Now, the next subtopic, that is the good practices needs to practice extreme programming. Some of the good practices that have been recognized in extreme programming model and suggested to minimize their use are given below. So the first one, that is the code review. The code review detects and corrects errors efficiently. It suggests peer programming as coding and reviewing of written code carrying out by a pair of programmers, means more than one programmer do the coding. Pairs of programmers who switch their works between them every hour. Then the second one, that is the testing. Testing code helps to remove errors and improves its readability and reliability also. XP suggests test driven development, that is TDD, to continually write and execute test cases. In the TDD approach, test cases are written even before any code is written. Then the third one, that is the incremental development. Incremental development is very good because the customer feedback is gained, and based on this development, team come up with new increments every few days after each iteration. Then the next one, that is the simplicity. As all of you know, simplicity makes it easier to develop good quality code as well as to test and debug it. Then the second last good practice, that is design. Good quality design is important to develop a good quality software. So everybody should design daily. Then the last one, that is integration. Integration, it helps to identify bugs at the interfaces of different functionalities. Extreme programming suggests that the developer should achieve continuous integration by building and performing integration testing several times a day. So all these are the good practices needs to practiced XP. Now let's have a look at the basic principles of extreme programming. XP is based on the frequent iteration through which the developers implement user stories. User stories are simple and informational statements of the customers about the functionalities needed. A user story is a conventional description by the user about a feature of the required system. It does not mention finer details such as the different scenarios that can occur. On the basis of user stories, the project team proposed metaphors. So the metaphors are a common vision of how the system would work. The development team may decide to build a spike for some features. A spike is a very simple program that is constructed to explore the suitability of a solution being proposed. It can be considered similar to a prototype. Some of the basic activities that are followed during software development by using XP model are as follows. So the first one, that is the coding. The concept of coding which is used in XP model is slightly different from traditional coding. Here the coding activity includes drawing diagrams, means the modeling, that will be transformed into code, scripting a web-based system and choosing among several alternative solutions. Then the second one, that is the testing. XP model gives high importance on testing and considers it be the primary factor to develop a fault-free software. Then the next one, that is the listening. The developers needs to carefully listen to customers if they have to develop a good quality software. Sometimes programmers may not have the depth knowledge of the system to be developed. So it is desirable for the programmers to understand properly the functionality of system, and they have to listen to the customers. Then the next one, that is the designing. Without a proper design, a system implementation becomes too complex and very difficult to understand the solution. Thus, it makes maintenance expensive. A good design results elimination of complex dependencies within a system. So, effective use of suitable design is emphasized. Then, the second last one, that is the feedback. One of the most important aspect of the XP model is to gain feedback from the customer to understand the exact customer's needs. Frequent contact with the customer makes the development effective. And the last one, that is the simplicity. The main principle of XP model is to develop a simple system that will work efficiently in the present time rather than trying to build something that would take time and it may never be used. It focuses on some specific features that are immediately needed rather than engaging time and efforts on speculation of future requirements. Now, it's important to know what are the applications of extreme programming. So, the application of extreme programming is some of the projects that are suitable to develop using XP models as follows. First one, that is the small projects. XP model is a very useful in the small projects consisting of small teams as face-to-face meeting as easier to achieve. And the second one, that is projects involving new technology or the research projects. This type of projects face changing of requirements rapidly and technical problems. So, XP models is used to complete this type of projects. Now, let us see XP values. There are total 5 XP values. First one is the communication, second one is simplicity, feedback, courage, and respect. So, let us see first, that is the communication. Software development is inherently a team sport that realizes on communication to transfer knowledge from one team member to every else on the other team. So XP stresses the importance of the appropriate kind of communication, face-to-face discussion with the aid of whiteboard or other drawing mechanism. Means here XP team is going to transfer knowledge within them, means from one team member to every other team member. Then the second one, that is the simplicity. Simplicity means what is the simplest thing that will do or that will work. The purpose of this is to avoid waste and do only absolutely necessary things, such as keep the design of the system as simple as possible so that it is easier to maintain, support, and revise. Simplicity also means addressing only the requirements that you know about. Don't try to predict the future. Then the third one, that is the feedback. Through constant feedback about their previous efforts, teams can identify areas for improvement and revise their practices. Feedback also supports simple design. Your team builds something, gathers feedback on your design and implementation, and then adjusts your product going forward. Then the next value, that is a courage. Kent Beck defined courage as a effective action in the face of fear. This definition shows a preference for action based on other principles so that the results are not harmful to the team. You need courage to raise organizational issues that reduce your team's effectiveness. You need courage to stop doing something that doesn't work and try something else. You need courage to accept and act on feedback, even when it's difficult to accept. Then, the next one or the last one, that is the respect. The members of your team need to respect each other in order to communicate with each other, provide and accept feedback that honors your relationship, and to work together to identify simple designs and solutions. So, all these five are XP values. Now, this is the XP process. So, XP uses an object oriented approach as its preferred development paradigm and encompasses a set of rules and practices that occur within the context of four frameworks activities, namely the first one, that is the planning, design, coding, and testing. Shows in this figure XP process. XP is a lightweight, efficient, low risk, then flexible, predictable, scientific, and fun way to develop a software. XP was conceived and developed to address the specific needs of software development by small teams in the face of vague and changing requirements. XP is one of the agile software development methodology. It provides values and principles to guide the team behavior. The team is expected to self organize. Extreme programming encompasses a set of rules and practices that occur within the context of four framework activities. So, the first one, that is the planning, second, designing, coding, and testing. So, the planning activity begins with the creation of a set of stories that describe required features and functionality for software to be built. Each story is written by the customer and is placed on an index card. The customer assigns a value to the story based on overall business value of the feature of function. Member of XP team then assess each story and assign a cost measured in development weeks to it. If a story will require more than 3 development weeks, the customer is asked to split the story into smaller stories, and the assignment of value and cost occurs again. The customer and the XP team work together to decide how to group stories into the next release to be developed by the XP team. Once a basic commitment is made for release, the XP team orders the stories that will be developed in one of three ways. First one, that is all stories will be implemented immediately. Second way is the stories with highest value will be moved up in the schedule and implemented first. The riskiest stories will be moved up in the schedule and implemented first. As development work proceeds, the customer can add stories, change the value um, of an existing story, split stories, or eliminate them. So the XP team then reconsiders all remaining releases and modifies its plan accordingly. Then the second phase, that is the design. XP design follows the keep it simple principle, that is KIS. A simple design is always preferred over a more complex representation. The design provides implementation guidance for a story as it is written, nothing less, nothing more. Then the third phase, that is the coding. XP recommends that after stories are developed and preliminary design work is done, the team should not move to code, but rather develop a series of unit tests that will exercise each story. Once the unit test has been created, the developer is better able to focus on what must be implemented to pass the unit test. Once the code completes, it can be unit tested immediately, thereby providing instantaneous feedback to the developer. The key concept during the coding activity is very important, that is the pair programming. XP recommends that two people work together at one computer workstation to create code for a story. This provides a mechanism for real time problem solving and real time quality assurance. As peer programmers complete their work, the code they developed is integrated with the work of others. This continuous integration strategy helps to avoid compatibility and interfacing problems and provides a smoke testing environment that helps to uncover errors early. And the last phase, that is the testing. The creation of unit test before coding is the key element of XP approach. The unit tests that are created should be implemented using a framework that enables them to be automated. This encourages regression testing strategy whenever code is modified. Individual unit tests are organized into a universal testing suite. Integration and validation testing of the system can occur on a daily basis. This provides the XP team with a continual indication of progress and also can raise warning flags early if things are going away. XP acceptance test, also called customer test, are specified by the customer and focus on the overall system features and functionality that are visible and reviewable by the customer. So all these are the phases of XP. Let us see what are the different advantages of XP. So first one, that is the simplicity. So the simplicity is a very important advantage of extreme programming projects. The developers who prefer to use this methodology create extremely simple code that can be improved at any moment. Then the second one, that is the main advantage of extreme programming, is that this methodology allows software development companies to save cost and time required for project realization. Time savings are available because of the fact that XP focuses on the timely delivery of final products. Extreme programming teams save lots of money because the main reason behind that saving money is um, we can say they don't use too much documentation. They usually solve problems through discussions inside of the team. Then the third one, that is the whole process in XP is visible and accountable. Developers commit what they will accomplish and show progress. Then the next one, that is the constant feedback is also the strong side. It is necessary to listen and make any changes needed in time. XP assists to create software faster thanks to the regular testing at the development stage, because it's possible only for the regular testing. Then in next one, that is extreme programming contributes increasing employee satisfaction and retention. So all these are the advantages of XP. Here are some of the disadvantages of XP. Some specialists say that the extreme programming is focused on the code rather than on the design. That may be a problem because good design is extremely important for software applications. It helps sell them in the software market. Additionally, in XP projects, that defect documentation is not always good. Lack of defect documentation may lead to the occurrence of similar bugs in the future. Then the second one, that is one important disadvantage is that this methodology does not measure code quality assurance. It may cause defects in the initial code. Then the last disadvantage is XP is not the best option if programmers are separated geographically. Now the next topic is industrial XP. As all of you know, extreme programming, that is XP, is widely used method for software development. This method is used to improve the quality of software. However, the use of XP is limited to small and medium organizations. Therefore, industrial XP is developed to meet the needs of larger organizations as an evolution of XP. However, the industrial XP, that is industrial extreme programming, is not accompanied by complete procedures and tools needed by developers. Rational Unified Process, that is RUP, comes as a software development process that is flexible to other framework to be applied in. According to Joshua Keruskoy, describes industrial XP in the following manner, like an industrial XP is an organic evolution of XP. It is imbued with the XP minimalist, then customer centric, taste driven spirit. Industrial XP differs most from the original XP in its greater inclusion of management, its expanded role for customers, and its upgraded technical practices. Industrial XP incorporates 6 new practices. So the first one, that is Readiness assessment. The industrial XP team ascertains whether all members of the project community, that may be stakeholders, developers, management, etc., are on board, have the proper environment established, and understand the skill levels involved. Then the second, that is project community. The industrial XP team determines whether the right people with the right skills and training have been staged for the project. The community encompasses technologists and other stakeholders. Then the third practice is project chartering. The industrial XP team assesses the project itself to determine whether an appropriate business justification for the project exists and whether the project will further the overall goals and objectives of the organization. Then the fourth practice, that is test driven management. An industrial XP team establishes a series of measurable destinations that assess progress to date and then defines mechanisms for determining whether or not these destinations have been reached. Then the second last practice, that is retrospectives. An industrial XP team conducts a specialized technical review after a software increment is delivered, called a retrospective. The review examines issues, events, and lessons learned across a software increment and or the entire software release. And the last practice, that is continuous learning. The industrial XP team is encouraged and possibly incented to learn new methods and techniques that can lead to a higher quality product. In addition to the 6 new practices discussed, industrial XP modifies a number of existing XP practices and redefines certain roles and responsibilities to make them more amenable to significant projects for large organizations. So, all these are the practices that followed by the industrial XP. Now, the next topic, that is very interesting topic, which is ASD, Adaptive Software Development. It is a technique for building complex software and software applications and systems. ASD is a design principle for the creation of software system. The principle focuses on the rapid creation and evolution of software system. Adaptive software development is made up of 3 steps, each revolving around the coding of a program. The first step in ASD is speculation. During this phase, coders attempt to understand the exact nature of the software and the requirements of the users. This phase relies on bugs and user reports to guide the project. If no reports are available, the developers use the basic requirements outlined by the purchaser. Then the second step is collaboration. Collaboration in ASD is a balance between managing the doing and creating, also maintaining the collaborative environment needed for output. As projects become increasingly complex, the balance swings much more towards the latter. For a project manager, maintaining this balance means 2 things. The first one, that is he or she has to decide which part of project are predictable. For example, we can say one can predict that without appropriate configuration, control procedures, a software project of any size can implode. For part, and the second, that is for parts that are unpredictable, manageable, unpredictable, then managers have to establish an environment in which the wild and wonderful properties of emergence, basically open, collaborative, then we can say exciting, messy, diverse, can exist. Then the third phase, that is learning. It's a very important phase. It is the last phase of in the adaptive software development. Collaborative activities build products. Learning activities expose those products to a variety of stakeholders to ascertain values. Then customer focus groups, then technical reviews, beta testing, and post learning means post-mortems are all practices that expose results to scrutiny. In an adaptive development, learning challenges all stakeholders, including both developers and customers, to examine their assumptions and use the results of each development cycle to learn the direction of the next. The cycle needs to be short, so terms or the conditions that are required in the project that will be handled by the teams so very easily or clearly, so that teams can learn from small rather than large mistakes. They also need to be double loop, so teams learn both about product changes and more fundamental changes in underlying assumptions about how the products are being developed. So all this is about adaptive software development. Now let's have a look at the various advantages of ASD, that is adaptive software development. Basically, ASD which is really useful to generate better and stronger end product. Then also it increased transparency between the developers and the customers. We can say it's a user first approach which is followed in ASD. ASD, which is a higher likelihood of on time, or we can say the early delivery, thanks to the repeating three steps process which allows potential problems to be identified and solved early. That's why it is higher likelihood of on time. Here are some of the disadvantages of ASD. First one, that is the extensive testing can lead to higher project costs. Then the second one, the level of user involvement required can be difficult to resource. Third one, an emphasis on constant product iteration and feedback can lead to burnout. Then the last one, that is ASD works better where teams can be dedicated solely to a single project. So all these are the disadvantages of ASD. Thank you.